marching against what they see as government oppression, but with a very specific demand. Adding to the chants for democracy, calls for Hong Kong's Justice Secretary to step down. They say Rimsky-Yoon's recent decision to retry and jail protesters and activists created the city's first political prisoners.
We witnessed in recent months how the Secretary for Justice abused his political position to make sure that those who fight for justice in Hong Kong would be ended up in prison.
Activists called 2017 a punishing year for Hong Kong's democracy movement. In August, 3 former student leaders were given jail sentences for storming the government grounds during the 2014 protest that triggered a 79-day Occupy movement. Government prosecutors are now bringing public nuisance charges against the co-founders of the Occupy movement. And since last year, the government has removed 6 elected pro-democracy politicians from Hong Kong's parliament.
In recent years, especially this year, Hong Kong people are facing lots of political suppression, which we think is totally ridiculous and totally against basic human rights and democracy.
These protests also mark 3 years since the start of the umbrella movement, which has proved to be one of the biggest challenges to the central government in Beijing. But since then, many here say the rights of people who live in Hong Kong have been eroded. There have been many protests this year, but there's a heightened sense of urgency at this march. People here say this march is particularly significant given the government's recent actions. They feel they could be arrested just for being at this protest. Despite this, families and people of all ages braved the 3-kilometer walk through the heat and heavy rain.
I think the next generations will suffer even more because of the government. I find it strange that the Chinese leaders from the communist regime are trying to govern Hong Kong like the rest of China, but the two are not the same.
Organisers say it's the reason they held this protest on October 1st, a day which should highlight unity in China. Hong Kong is the only place where people can still protest freely under China's one country, two systems policy, and they want to make sure it remains that way. Divya, Gopalan, Jazeera, Hong Kong.